Good day everyone, I'm Dave and thank you for joining me. Well, today we are going to cover some very interesting topics about being found by, you guessed it, LLMs, in particular ChatGPT, and where Google are currently sitting in the landscape. The whole world, as we know, has been turned upside down by AI, and as people now are more and more getting to understand it, hopefully they will be able to address the needs of their business. But what every business needs, it doesn't matter whether you're a small business or a large business, you all need customers, because without customers you haven't got a business. So it goes back the full circle of how do you attract customers? How do you become the voice that is listened to, right? You've seen in my past videos I've covered how the advances in video and imagery is just mind-blowing over the last even 2 years and even the last year and then even over the last 3 months. So with Nano, Banana, VO3, Sora 2, it is just impossible not to make a good video these days, even if you're just a single guy sitting in a room somewhere trying to run your business, right? But what is the most important thing is people knowing about your business and being recommended by your business. And this is the new landscape we're moving into, right? LLMs, large language models, and let's just talk ChatGPT, just for, as ChatGPT. I know I sound like I say ChatGPT, but anyway, ChatGPT is the key one that everyone wants to get on, but you can't pay to get on there. So you need a strategy. This is my strategy. I want to show you some more about what other people have got to say about the strategy and also show some results and where it stands, so you understand fully that the way you need to do things now is completely different. You just can't chuck money at Google anymore. It will still work to a point, but that is not the long-term way that things will work. Ultimately, as I've said before, everyone will have their own personal AI assistant that will recommend to them what they need to do. And you will just take that advice because you trust that AI assistant like you trust a friend. This is the importance, right? Being recommended. So let's have a look at a couple of things. We'll go down here. Now, this is my website, Own the Conversation. This website hasn't been up a long time, maybe about 6 months. I decided to finally get around to building, like all people that develop and design, they do the other work first and then they get around to their work. So the reason I'm starting with this first is because it is all about owning the conversation. That is becoming a key phrase now. What about the conversation aspect? So owning the conversation is a really good way to understand what you need to do. And you can do it with the system that I've got. So this is my homepage. Let's jump off that for a minute. Let's start with what some other people have got to say. Now, I've referred to Neil Patel before. He's got a big company, NP Digital. And here's just another one of his words of wisdom, so to speak. So you can see it's not just me saying these things. These are quite reputable agents. Have a look at what he's got to say, and we'll have a little listen.
AI search is creating monopolies in every category. The brands that become the default answer in 2026 will start capturing the majority of the market, especially when the younger generation grows up, as they primarily use voice search over text-based search. Bonus trend. Keywords are dead, topics rule. If you ask an SEO expert in 2023 how to rank for email marketing, they tell you to create a really in-depth guide on email marketing. But in 2026, that strategy won't save you because AI doesn't read content the way the old Google did. More keywords doesn't equal more relevance anymore. If anything, it's likely to get you flagged as low-quality content. Many studies, and even what we see across our own clients, show that search success now depends on full topic coverage and intent alignment. When someone asks about email deliverability, Google's AI just doesn't look at the phrase 5 times. It scans for everything connected to it: sender reputation, authentication, list hygiene, engagement metrics, the full topic. Businesses creating thin content targeting individual keywords will become invisible. So here's how to avoid that. First, audit your content for topic coverage, not keyword density.
Conversational.
Second, build comprehensive content hubs that cover subjects completely, not isolated posts targeting single keywords.
Conversation.
Third, structure content for AI comprehension using clear headers, structured data, and complete explanations.
Construction, I can show you that.
These 5 trends are just the beginning. The AI revolution in search is happening right now, and businesses that adapt will dominate their markets. The ones that don't, they'll be left behind wondering what happened.
Okay, so that is point 1. We've heard Neil speak before, so I'll just cover my microphone there. All right, sorry if there's a bumpy noise. All right, so the next one, which is of interest, is basically about who and how are people searching, right? So if we look here, it's all about topical authority. Now, I've talked about this before because I design sites. For example, let's have a look at topical authority before we look at what this guy's got to say, right? So I've used this as an example before. Here's a carpet shop in Sydney, British carpet company. They have their own AI assistant. Their own AI assistant, when asked a question, answers the question and also then outputs the answers to a page with the images of those questions, right? Very, very powerful. People aren't going click, 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 click anymore. Agents might be going click, 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 but even then they just go straight to the source, sort the problem out. Now, how is this site getting found? This site is getting found because it has another site that is called Carpet Sydney, and it is all about carpets, general questions about carpets. Now, obviously some of the questions are very, very targeted at their business, right? Who's the best carpet layers in Sydney? You know, how do you deal with seams and traditional carpet? So general information, then a recommendation, right? Who has the best carpet layers in Sydney? Another recommendation. Now, these are all recommendations by this AI assistant set up to help people about questions about carpet, no matter where you are in the world. Most of the questions don't come from people in Sydney. So let's have a look at, we'll go carpet comparison. All of these topics are covered en masse. The page is set out, it's got H1, H2 tags. We can see here that there's lots and lots of general answers. They're not all just about the carpet from the British Carpet Company, though the British Carpet Company have got a lot of good solutions, so they get mentioned a lot. Now, the reason that this is important is this is what we call topical authority. You have created your own topical authority because you've gone to the trouble to look at your domain being carpet in Sydney, right? And you have then created a public service where people can ask questions about carpet in Sydney. And it's sponsored by you, by your company, which is fine. People have been doing that for 100 years. But also the questions are of general in nature. They're not all pointing back to Carpet Sydney, but at the end of the day, they're basically saying, hey, this is what this company does. This is the quality work. This is telling you about how good this company is, but answering all sorts of other questions. So then when people want to find out and go to their site, they've got another AI assistant, and this AI assistant will tell them what's going on. Now, just use that as a bit of a background. We'll have a look at what this guy's got to say, who is an SEO marketing expert. Let me maximize this and we'll listen to this. This is quite interesting and it gives you some facts and figures, and then we'll show how I back those facts and figures up.
2025, Bing was actually making some pretty good progress as far as chipping away at Google's market share. But over the last 3 months here, it's slowly been kind of just reverting right back to Google being that dominant player in traditional search again. So, in essence, not a whole lot has changed.
So Google is still super popular,
distribution
but look at this.
Of search clicks over time on Google. So when someone conducts a search, where are those clicks actually going? So come to find out, about 26%, over a quarter of the activity on Google, it results in no clicks at all. So over a quarter of people that are searching are not clicking on a single thing. They're, I guess, getting their answer maybe from an AI overview, or they're satisfied, whatever it may be, and then they're just leaving Google. So that's a lot of people. When in the grand scheme of things, how many searches are conducted per minute on Google, it's a lot. Okay, so over a quarter. And then also the intent of queries that go on, this is specifically desktop search, only about 1% of all searches have purchase intent on Google. So only about 1%. And then about 20% have some sort of, let's call it investigative intent, where they're actually looking for information to make a purchase. Okay, so this might be something that might have like comparison intent, might be Nike baseball cleats versus Adidas baseball cleats, right? Or it might be looking up Nike baseball cleats alternatives. Okay, those are more investigative intent types of keywords. Or it could even go even higher up in the funnel. It could be like best baseball cleats right now for pitchers.
Okay. So the point they're trying to make, and this is really the biggest shift of the lot, it's the way people search. People generally just don't go and ask for one particular thing, baseball socks, whatever it happens to be. They are now asking in a conversational fashion. That trend is played out in the results of what's happening with Google. And being found, you can't just have this keyword set up anymore. It's not about keywords, it's about conversation. This is the point the guy is trying to back up.
Okay, so no brand included in that query. So those would fall in that, let's call it 20%. So overall, though, we're looking at only about 20% 20 to 21% of searches conducted on Google actually have some sort of path to conversion. So that means, and it's a classic 80-20 rule, and the other 80% is really probably informational in nature. So when people talk about losing traffic to their websites, that has affected pretty much everyone. But a lot of those queries and a lot of that traffic that has been lost, it was informational queries that likely were very top of the funnel and very far away from conversion. So the metric to really be paying attention to is, has the revenue changed? That's really, really important. Has the lead volume changed? And if the answer is yes, then that's something that you're gonna need to investigate. Probably if you're seeing a decrease in visibility on those commercial queries, even in traditional search and in the AI platforms, that's where the time should be spent. We wanna focus on those much more than just these kind of really, really top funnel queries that are just so far from conversion. So next one here is specifically about AI platforms, and it's the share of desktop users using AI in the US. ChatGPT is hands down the most popular one as of right now, and then Gemini's number 2. And then after that, it's basically a toss-up between Perplexity, Claude, Copilot, and DeepSeek.
Okay, so have a look at this chart. We can see here, look at the gap between ChatGPT and all the other LLMs. Now, that is not discounting all these LLMs or ChatGPT, because with 1 billion users, they are going to have a huge lion's share of the market. Doesn't mean 1 billion users are going to buy stuff from you. So this doesn't look to be as nasty as what it is, because what you've got to remember now is it's about being recommended. Now, you won't get recommended if you're not there. So how do you get there? And in particular, how do you get onto ChatGPT? Because basically being on ChatGPT means that you are going to be referred to a lot more by the agents that have been asked questions by the user to give you an answer. And they talk about intent, purchase intent. You can create the conversations about your product. You own the conversation about your product. So let's have a little listen again.
Okay, so if you're thinking about like how do we actually drive AI search performance and what platform should we focus on, the good news is like, if you focus on one platform, you're probably going to see outcomes across all platforms.
I'll show that in a minute.
For the most part, there are some slight nuances across platforms, but at the end of the day, you should always focus on the platforms that have the most attention and the most demand. So right now it's ChatGPT. Okay, so that should be at least your number one focus. And in general, like I said, if you do well on ChatGPT, that will definitely bleed over into the other platforms as well. And then the last one here is the share of desktop users on content platforms in the US. So what are the most popular content platforms? Now, this is very, very important for AI search because, once again, we see that YouTube is hands down the most popular content platform.
Okay, so the 3 points that he basically covered. You can no longer just have a keyword normal search in Google. It is not going to cut it, right? I'm not saying it doesn't work at all, but it's changing rapidly, right? Then you need, but the difference is you can go to Google with a wad full of cash, give them the cash, and they will make sure you're as the top as you can get. You might get tons and tons of views. You're not going to get that many clicks. There's been a great divergence between clicks and views. Tons of views. They still put the views up, but no one's clicking on it because, as they said, people are getting their answer from the AI assistant and then leaving. Now, those people may not have been intended to buy, but how do you capture the people that aren't intended to buy? They're doing a search query that is signaling they're ready to buy, okay? Google can't do that. It's just a repository, a closed system. Generative AI can do that. It can work out what's going on based on the question, what's going on from the answer that it's given, right? So the golden rule out of that is ChatGPT is the numero uno, but it's there and it's going to be around for a long time, and it probably more than likely will be the most dominant one because they've got browsers, they've got everything. It's a one-stop shop, as I've shown in previous videos. The other one, which I'll touch on, is also YouTube. Very important to go hand in hand, right? Now, you can own the conversation, and you can own the conversation on YouTube as well by creating content about your product. And your product then goes hand in hand with searches. Not only for Google, which it does very well now, but also for ChatGPT and the other. So if you're doing well in ChatGPT, the point is you're probably doing well in Perplexity, which is probably the most common. Gemini, very, very common because Google products everyone's got. Perplexity actually punch way above their weight because, they're a standalone company. Google have got the resources of Alphabet. They're one of the biggest companies in the world. So, if they can't perform and a little company can, they're obviously on the right plan somewhere. Okay, so that's the two things. Now, how does that relate to you, me, and the world? Let's have a look at this. So we talked about the British carpet company, right? There's their homepage. There is their informational owning the conversation, right, about their domain, their topic authority of carpet. Now, let's have a look here. I went into, speaking of Perplexity, and I just asked a question. Are the British Carpet Company a trusted? See, like when you go to Google, people might say British Carpet Company. That's fine. They're going to find the British Carpet Company, and I'll use an example of that. Oh, well, we'll jump to an example of that now. You go to own the conversation in Google. Own the conversation. That's a lot of very non-related words. Conversation is a very generic word. Own the is a very generic word. But to just go to Google and actually type in the keyword own the conversation, you can see I'm up here, number 1. That's the website. But also, my YouTube channel is up here. Okay, I'll give it to you. Not everyone's going to go and type in own the conversation. But that word conversation and what I'm doing, right, is being found, and it is being used on both video, right, and on my website. So going back to here, we then go to an LLM where most people are searching. So whether it's GPT or Perplexity or Gemini or whatever. So just as an example, I'm not going to just type in a 2-word or 3-word keyword. I'm going to type in, are the British Carpet Company a trusted retailer in Sydney to invest in good quality, long-lasting carpet for my home with quality installation? That is a question someone would ask, right? They would ask their AI assistant. They may not go and ask directly to Perplexity or ChatGPT. More than likely, in the years in the future, they're just going to say, hey, whatever their assistant's called, I need to buy some carpet. I want a trusted carpet company. I want quality, long-lasting carpet. I want, good installation. Go and find me someone, right? So in this case, straight away, I have mentioned the British Carpet Company, but we need to know if your business is actually being found. So go to ChatGPT, go to Perplexity, go to Claude, go to Gemini, ask a question about your business directly with the name in it. Don't just type in your business name. Type in, I want to find gym boots or whatever the case may be. First of all, you've got to be found by the LLMs. That's stage 1. If you're not being found, you're not in business, right? So you need that. Secondly, I've put in the specific name, British Carpet. Now, this is the important part. It's come back with the British Carpet Company is widely recognised, blah, blah, blah. By the British Carpet Company. By the British Carpet Company. Carpet Sydney. Cited and referred, right? Down here, house. So they're obviously up on house somewhere. British Carpet Company, right? Then Instagram, Facebook. So, but if we look at the sources, we can see Carpet Sydney. Category, carpet store recommendations. You asked, are you looking for the best carpet store in Cronulla area? It is cited a site that you own, that you have created. You have authority now. You are starting to create authority for your business. This is a very good. Now, hark, I hear you cry. I hear you cry. Okay, that's Perplexity. We're talking about ChatGPT. Okay, now I've had to go into an incognito window here because if I ask my ChatGPT without going into an incognito window, it may give me an answer that's slanted because it knows my history. So I've gone and asked exactly the same question. Are the British Carpet Company a trusted retailer in Sydney? This is ChatGPT. To invest in good quality carpet, exactly the same question. It's come back with images from the British Carpet Company, right? It's come back with from the information available. Yes, the British Carpet Company appears to be a trusted retailer. It's got longevity. It's referred to, look, the British Carpet Company. Carpet Sydney is a referrer where it's actually saying, this is where I got the information from. You can control the conversation, okay? Down here, what should you check to ask? Installation warranty. My verdict, if I was summarising for a high quality, long lasting carpet installation in Sydney, British Carpet Company is definitely a strong contender, all right? Their heritage, and it goes on to list why. Now, that is a referral. That is a recommendation by an LLM based on citations from another site that you own and you control, right? This is what I'm talking about when I talk about own the conversation. Now, here's another little experiment, right? We've gone up to, I'll go back into here. All right, so I showed you that this is my website. I've showed you that you go to Google and you type in own the conversation. Okay, same deal. Own the conversation AI assistants, right? This is in an LLM. Now, I know an LLM doesn't work just on keywords. So if I typed in just own the conversation, it will go definitely off on a tangent, right? But just by putting AI assistants, which is what I do, number 1, here it is, own the conversation, AI assistants, right? That's all I typed in, right? So I know that I'm not only am I on Perplexity, but I'm on Google as well, right? That's great. Now, it gives me all the reasons, tells me what it does. There's the contact, the official website of Own the Conversation is me. There it is there. Let's prove it. Double click on there. Dun, dun, dun. There I am. Right, well, not me, but there's my site. And there's me. Oh, there I am there with my AI assistant. Now, another one we looked at, just again, keywords. We do assistants in Thailand. Thailand AI assistants. There we are, thailand.com.ai. Second on the Google search, which is great. It also comes out, there we are, there's our AI assistant, right? Talking about what we do in Thailand. All right. Now, the other really interesting point that I want to make now is, I've done videos in the past about, this is where we're sitting at the landscape at the moment, right? Now, Google and Facebook, traditional advertising methods, right? Not a problem with that. That is dwindling, right? That is changing. The landscape has changed massively. But you can go and pay money and get an instant return, right? The way I compare it is, it's like a horse race, right? So you might have $5,000 and you go, right, I want to advance my business. I'm going to spend $5,000, right? So you put $5,000 into paid ads and you see a huge spike in inquiries, right? Now, depending where that is in the cycle, that may lead to more sales and you may get your $5,000 back. You may do all your money, or like a horse race, you might get $10,000, $20,000 in sales from that ad. But once that's run, it's finished. The horse race is finished. The way you've got to look at it now, you work it out. It's no longer one platform or two platforms you can rely on. You need to go to other platforms. You need to own the conversation for LLMs to be found, right? Now, I'm not discounting the importance of being on Bing or importance of being on Google. We can see the importance of being on Google from the graphs. Basically very important, right? But here I just want to show you something really interesting. In previous videos, I have kept monitoring my sites that have been up for maybe 6 or 7 months. So these are very baby steps. These are the little trees planted for the future. They are now growing exponentially, by the way, and they will continue to grow. But let's have a look at some facts and figures here, right? So if I go down here now, and I've used this example before because it's flatlined, right? So Bondi Bronte has got hundreds and hundreds of pages of information, right? Hundreds of pages of information. Yet it's only got 2 pages indexed with Google, right? 2 little pages indexed. Now, and I think one of those is the privacy policy and the other one is the homepage, right? If I then go to Sutherland Sally, which is indexed a lot, right? We've got, 92 pages there. It's stayed fairly constant through all the updates. So the output content that I create with my AI assistants is registered. Now, we don't control Google and we don't control Bing and we don't control what they index and what they index and then choose to actually promote, right? But watch this. Going back into ChatGPT, where everyone wants to be on. And again, great thing to strive for. I went to ChatGPT and I just typed in Bondi Bronte AI Assistant, right? Here's a summary of Bondi Bronte AI Assistant. It tells me all about Bondi Bronte online, right? Here's an AI assistant designed for the eastern suburbs of Australia, all right? So we can click on that. That'll take us straight to Bondi Bronte. Okay, there is Bondi Bronte. Now, Bondi Bronte, as we can see, only has 2 pages on Google. Yet, you go to ChatGPT and you ask a question about Bondi Bronte, straight away, information up there, number 1, right? Now, Bondi Bronte AI Assistant, look what we've got. We've got all referrers from Bondi Bronte, all right, tells me where it is, what it does and everything else. Now, Sutherland Sally. It looks like there's no clear match for Sutherland Sally or a Sutherland Sally AI Assistant. Right? So it doesn't have the information. Did you mean this? Did you mean that? Classic example, right? You think you're home and hosed because you're ranking on Google, right? Sutherland Sally, got plenty of pages on Google, ranks really well. But on ChatGPT, you're not even showing up. Bondi Bronte, 2 pages on there, but showing up because that information is valued, okay? Now, I am sure over time that Sally's information will also be uptaken. And I'll tell you why it will be uptaken is because in my last video, I showed you how I can 100% get you on ChatGPT. So if you missed that, you should go and have a look at the previous video. Anyway, I will leave it there for now. I'm sorry my videos have been a bit late. I've been very, very busy talking to people and coding. Don't forget, contact me, book a time to have a chat to me. I'm more than happy to talk to you about AI and how I can integrate it into your business and help you. I've been focusing on many different angles of AI. The last couple have mainly been on being found and what it's all about, and also about that it's not an AI bubble. We are really seriously talking about you can't bury your head in the sand if you're a business. You need to make some inroads into adopting AI into your business. Hopefully I can help you out there. Feel free to give me a call. Don't forget, people keep telling me to say this. Like, subscribe, and click the button or whatever. Up to you, I don't care. But anyway, Thanks for watching. I do care you watch. Thanks very much. I do appreciate my 7 viewers. Well, maybe a bit more than that. But anyway, thanks for your time. I shall catch you in the next one.